The Coral Sea is a marginal sea of the South Pacific off the northeast coast of Australia, and classified as an interim Australian bioregion. The Coral Sea extends 2,000 kilometers down the Australian northeast coast. The sea was the location for the Battle of the Coral Sea, a major confrontation during World War II between the navies of the Empire of Japan and the United States and Australia. The sea contains numerous islands and reefs, as well as the world's largest reef system, the Great Barrier Reef, which was declared a World Heritage Site by UNESCO in 1981. All previous oil exploration projects were terminated at the GBR in 1975, and fishing is restricted in many areas. The reefs and islands of the Coral Sea are particularly rich in birds and aquatic life and are a popular tourist destination, both nationally and internationally. It is bounded in the west by the east coast of Queensland, thereby including the Great Barrier Reef, in the east by Vanuatu and by New Caledonia, and in the northeast approximately by the southern extremity of the Solomon Islands. In the northwest, it reaches to the south coast of eastern New Guinea, thereby including the Gulf of Papua. It merges with the Tasman Sea in the south, with the Solomon Sea in the north and with the Pacific Ocean in the east. On the west, it is bounded by the mainland coast of Queensland, and in the northwest, it connects with the Arafura Sea through the Torres Strait. The sea is characterized by its warm and stable climate, with frequent rains and tropical cyclones, while the Great Barrier Reef with its islands and cays belong to Queensland. Most reefs and islets east of it are part of the Coral Sea Islands territory. In addition, some islands west of and belonging to New Caledonia are also part of the Coral Sea Islands in a geographical sense, such as the Chesterfield Islands and Bellona Reefs. The International Hydrographic Organization defines the limits of the Coral Sea as follows. On the north, the south coast of New Guinea from the entrance to the Bensbark River off Tagula Island, thence a line to the southern extreme of Rennell Island. On the northeast, from the northernmost island of the Duff Islands, through these islands to their southeastern extreme, thence a line to Mere Lava, Vanuatu Islands and down the eastern coasts of the islands of this group to Anatam Island in such a way that all the islands of these groups, and the straits separating them, are included in the Coral Sea. On the southeast, a line from the southeastern extreme of Anatam Island to Nokanhi and down this meridian to latitude 30 degrees south. On the south, the parallel of 30 degrees south to the Australian coast. On the west, the eastern limit of the Arafura Sea and the east coast of Australia as far south as latitude 30 degrees south. The Coral Sea Basin was formed between 58 million and 48 million years ago when the Queensland continental shelf was uplifted, forming the Great Dividing Range, and continental blocks subsided at the same time. The sea has been an important source of coral for the Great Barrier Reef, both during its formation and after sea level lowering. The geological formation processes are still proceeding, as partly evidenced by the seismic activity. Several hundred earthquakes with the magnitude between 2 and 6 were recorded in the period 1866 to 2000 along the Queensland coast and in the Coral Sea. On the 2nd of April 2007, the Solomon Islands were struck by a major earthquake followed by a several meters tall tsunami. The epicenter of this magnitude 8.1 earthquake was 349 kilometers northwest of Honiara, at a depth of 10 kilometers. It was followed by more than 44 aftershocks of a magnitude 5.0 or greater. The resulting tsunami killed at least 52 people and destroyed more than 900 homes. The sea received its name because of its numerous coral formations. They include the GBR, which extends about 2,000 kilometers along the northeast coast of Australia and includes approximately 2,900 individual reefs and 1,000 islands. The Chesterfield Islands and Liho Reef are the largest atolls of the Coral Sea. Major Coral Sea currents form a counterclockwise gyro which includes the East Australian Current. It brings warm nutrient-poor waters from the Coral Sea down the east coast of Australia to the cool waters of the Tasman Sea. This current is the strongest along the Australian coasts and transforms 30 million cubic meters per second of water, within a flow band of about 100 kilometers wide and 500 meters deep. The current is strongest around February and weakest around August. The major river flowing into the sea is the Burdekin River, which has its delta southeast of Townsville. Owing to the seasonal and annual variations in occurrence of cyclones and in precipitation, its annual discharge can vary more than 10 times between the two succeeding years. In particular, in the period 1920 to 1999, the average flow rate near the delta was below 1,000 cubic meters per second in 1923, 1931, 1939, 1969, 1982, 1985, 1987, 1993 and 1995. It was ab.